Listen, we all know Thanksgiving is just an excuse for family drama. I feel like Oprah. You get to ruin Thanksgiving, and you get to ruin Thanksgiving. Everybody gets to ruin Thanksgiving. The only thing we're missing from these Thanksgiving stories is Uncle Steve bringing up politics. Hi, my lovelies. Happy Thanksgiving week. It's Rebecca Rogers. Welcome back to my channel. It is Tuesday, meaning it's time for a weekly episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Because of the holiday, I figured maybe it'll be fun to do a themed episode. We know Thanksgiving is good for two things: good food and family drama. And with family drama, people need to know, were they in the right or were they in the wrong? And we're gonna tell them. But without further ado, let's get into it. Thanksgiving always needs apple pie, so let's go apple picking. Apple number one. Am I the bad apple for teaching my nephew how to share? My sister-in-law and her husband always host Thanksgiving dinner. They have a 14-year-old son named Chase, while my wife and I have two kids, Betty 8 and Sarah 3. While she was cooking, my sister-in-law sent Chase to the corner store for some milk. When he came back, he had 2 bags of candy with him. Of course my kids wanted some and immediately asked for him to share. But Chase told them no. I, of course, intervened and told Chase, "You shouldn't have brought candy into the house without expecting to share with your cousins." Sarah, in particular, started throwing a whole temper tantrum because that candy was her favorite. I again urged Chase to share. He told me no and just went up to his room to hide the candy. He was being so immature, so I told him to go get the candy and that I would just pass it out after dinner. My brother then intervened and told me to leave Chase alone, that he didn't have to share. He caused Sarah to have a temper tantrum and I told him that. Chase was sent to get milk, not candy. He decided to get candy all on his own. Chase argued that it was with his own money, but I said, it doesn't matter. Everyone knows you don't bring candy around small children and expect them to not want some. You have to share with them or they just throw temper tantrums. Sarah eventually calmed down, but after dinner she went into another meltdown because Chase went to go get the candy, opened it in front of her, and refused to share again. He didn't give her a single piece of candy. I told Chase he was being selfish and he just went up to his room and locked his door. We tried giving Sarah slices of cake and pie, but she continued to have a meltdown and just demanded some of that candy. My sister-in-law cut the visit short and asked us to leave. I guess because Sarah wouldn't stop crying. On our way home, we still couldn't get Sarah to calm down, so we had to stop at the store and get her candy ourselves. I don't think it was too much to ask for Chase to share with his younger cousins. I mean, he's 14. Does he not know how to share? But now that I think about it, my sister-in-law kicked us out. Like, was I really that bad of an apple? Oh my God, you really ruined Thanksgiving. So hold on. Let me get this straight. You go to your in-law's house, okay? Your sister-in-law's cooking. I guess you're watching her cook. Are you helping? That's besides the point. That's just an extra. And Chase gets sent to the store. Did you offer to go to the store? I don't think so. Chase buys candy with his own money, brings it back to his house, and keeps it up in his room for later. And you think that because he's in possession of candy while you're at his house that he has to share? I mean, it would be nice, but he doesn't have to. It's not like he came back and opened it in front of everyone immediately. He was like, oh, this candy's so good, not for you, just for me. Like, he went up and put it in his room for later. He's allowed to do that with stuff he buys himself. Now, yeah, don't get me wrong, he did later open it in front of everybody after you threw a whole fit about it. He was being petty. Do I agree with him doing that? No, I don't. But he's 14, and I don't know if you realize this, 14-year-olds have major attitude problems. Him deciding to be a petty jerk right then still doesn't mean you're entitled or your kids are entitled to his candy that he bought. Would it have been nice? Sure. Especially because he opened it in front of everybody. But that still doesn't mean that you're entitled to it. I say this quite often. Parents, just because you have kids doesn't mean everybody else in the world is obligated to cater to them. Now, another point that I want to touch on, why are you not putting your foot down with your kid having a temper tantrum over things that aren't hers? Why are you not teaching your small child that just because she wants something that someone else has and owns doesn't mean they have to give it to her? You don't get everything that you want. You can't just take something from someone because you want it. It's not yours. You're all about wanting to teach life lessons. Oh, I want to teach Chase to share. Teach Sarah how to accept the word no. Boundaries. We're all about boundaries. Teach your boys boundaries. It's not just young boys that need to learn no, it's young girls also. Everyone should understand the boundary no. No is a full sentence. And I also wonder if Sarah getting all worked up has anything to do with you getting all worked up. You know how when a little kid falls and like everyone pauses and you're like, you're okay, Jimmy, you're fine, you're a big boy, you got it. And they just pop up and they're like, oh, I'm okay, yeah. But when a little kid falls and you're like, oh no, that's when the tears start and they're gauging their reaction off of you. That happens with young kids. So I'm wondering if Sarah's hysterical temper tantrums have anything to do with yours.
Got him.
But anyways, yes, I think you're the bad apple. Chase, I think, started out as a good apple and then kind of became a crab apple because I wouldn't have opened the sweets in front of the kid. Like, that was a jerk move, but it still doesn't make him entitled to share anything. But yeah, you're the bad apple. I mean, your sister-in-law literally asked you to leave. You didn't gather that? And the fact that you fueled the temper tantrum by going and getting your sweets after, that annoys the crap out of me.
But I can't keep giving him cookies.
Some people have to learn that sometimes just because they want something doesn't mean they're gonna get it. That's a valuable life lesson. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for telling my wife she can stay home for Thanksgiving? My wife is a grade A picky eater. It's bothersome to a certain degree, but on holidays, basically the crap show begins. She refuses to eat certain meals and my mom takes it personally, which results in a series of arguments between them. As a compromise this year, my wife offered to bring her own food to Thanksgiving dinner. I was stunned. I asked, did you actually think this through? And she looked at me confused. I told her about how weird it would be for her to bring her own food, especially when she wouldn't be sharing it with anybody else. And I said, seriously, think about how my mom will react. She'd get so offended and upset. My wife said that's not her problem and she's just trying to make it work by bringing her own meal. I told her again that my mom might not even like or allow her to do that. She blew up at me asking, did I want her to eat food she didn't like or should she just go hungry? I asked, why don't you just give my mom's food a chance? But she insisted it's not about my mom's cooking, she just doesn't like certain foods. We had an argument and I ended up telling her that she could stay home this Thanksgiving and eat whatever meal she likes. She got quiet and lashed out at me, calling me insensitive and negative to say these things to her. I told her to calm down, but she kept ranting about how I was willing to just exclude her from Thanksgiving. She started cold shouldering me about it, and now she's been guilting me, saying that I'm treating her poorly after she offered the perfect compromise. I think it was a terrible idea, but I just want to make sure. Was I the bad apple? Oh, we got 2 winners in a row. You are willing to shatter your wife's feelings and disinclude her from Thanksgiving, like the family holiday, to spare your mom's ego? Which I don't really understand why the mom is taking that personally anyways. The wife is clear, it's not about the mom not being a good cook or anything, it's about I don't like these certain foods. Why haven't you asked the mom to maybe make something that doesn't include those foods? I don't understand why that never dawned on you. You want your wife to cater to your mom's feelings, but you haven't even offered the most logical compromise in my opinion, which is asking your mom to make a dish she would eat. Now I do want to clarify something because I can already feel the keyboard warriors.
Rebecca, don't you know cooking for Thanksgiving is a lot? We can't make a special dish for everybody.
I never said you had to. Props to those amazing individuals who make Thanksgiving dinner. That is a task. But I can't help but to feel that if you are insisting you be the only one to provide food for Thanksgiving, I don't feel like it's crazy to ensure there's something for like your immediate family, okay? You know, it's not like it's a distant relative or a friend from work coming by that's like, oh, thanks for cooking, but I don't like this. It is a family member, a daughter-in-law, that likes certain things. You can't make sure you have one thing. And again, I really want to preface, I don't think those who are cooking Thanksgiving dinners need to cater to every single different person. But I think that if you're insisting you be the sole provider for the dinner, that it's not crazy to ask, hey, can we just ensure that there's some variety so that everyone has something to eat? Or why can't you just insist, hey, can she bring a dish to contribute to dinner that she can also eat. Like I get, for some reason the mom has like a thing, she wants the daughter-in-law to eat her food. Okay, if she doesn't like mushrooms, don't get mad when she doesn't eat the mushrooms. So what we do for our Thanksgiving now, my family gets together with our very close family friends. If y'all follow me on Instagram and you see my stories and I'm like, it's a nephew day, that's where my nephew comes from. His mom and I, Anna, we have been best friends since we were 3 or 5. But anyways, we all bring something for everybody so that it doesn't all just fall on one person. I think that's a really good way to do it because it also ensures that all the pressure isn't on one person, but then everyone has something that they like. Whether they don't like green beans, but they like this and they can bring, like, it's better. I do think the husband is a bad apple. I think the way he's expecting his wife to be miserable, to tiptoe around the fact that mom for some reason has this ego around the food that she like is demanding the daughter-in-law likes. Like, it's not even about her cooking, it's about you will like these dishes. That's weird. And for him to be demanding her to be miserable just to encourage that, that's toxic. Not only is he demanding that she just go along with it, but is like, well, I'll just have Thanksgiving without you. Without your wife? So that's a bad apple in my book. But I do want to say this, because I can feel the other side of the keyboard warriors going,
She probably has an allergy and blah, 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 blah.
because I know how everyone likes to project additional information into the stories that's not there. We're using it as an example. Nowhere in this story does it say anything about allergies. It said she doesn't like certain foods. Yes, he's still a bad apple, but what we're not gonna do is use the reasoning of, well, I just made up this detail for the story that I'm clinging to, and that's why he's the bad apple, because I've decided she has allergies.
Got him.
We're not gonna project our own issues or our own ideas into stories. Like, that's not in the information that we have, okay? Just a reminder that we don't do that. We go based off the facts given.
That's a fact, Jack!
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for picking a fight with my boyfriend? My boyfriend, male 26, and I, 24 female, travel by plane to go to my parents' house for Thanksgiving. We checked in together and have different boarding groups. He's group 1 because he's active duty, and I'm group 3 for being a platinum card holder on the airline. That's significant information since both groups are considered priority boarding. We're both under the impression that boarding groups don't really matter. We're seasoned travelers, we're very efficient when boarding planes, and the only thing that does matter is that we're on the plane before the main groups, which are people who don't travel often and are generally slower when boarding planes. When the plane started boarding, they obviously called group 1 first, the group for active duty military and unaccompanied minors. My boyfriend gets up and boards without me. I was so annoyed. Groups 1 and 2 are so small, and group 3, my group, usually gets called so fast, if not combined with group 2. After my group gets called, literally 5 minutes later, I get on the plane and I told him that he could have waited for my group to get called and we could have boarded together. He said he didn't think it was that big of a deal, and I said that since we're traveling together and he's never done that before, why would he randomly do it now? Is he trying to tell me something? He didn't have a reason besides,
It's for me. Why wouldn't I use that group? My group is still priority boarding.
we got into a mild argument on the plane. Nothing huge, because we were on a plane. He thinks I'm a jerk for starting an argument and being upset about him boarding 5 minutes before me, but I think it's justified. He's never done that before. He just left me there by myself. And it's not like he said anything to me about it beforehand. It's not like it's a new thing where he just joined the military either. He's been active duty for 8 years. We've traveled together multiple times and he's never just left me there like that. I think I've only seen him use his military ID for a discount 1 time the entire time I've known him, so why now? But still, he thinks I'm being a jerk, so I need to know, am I the bad apple? Girl, I feel like for the holidays, you should get some therapy. Because I feel like you're very insecure. Insecure with yourself, insecure with your relationship. And I would like to preface that going to therapy is not like, it's not a slight, it's not a jab. It's not like, haha, I got you, you need therapy. Like, no, therapy is a normal thing for people to get access to. I genuinely think it will be helpful to you in your mental health, because this was a little much.
You're all overreacting!
You say you're such a seasoned traveler and you travel all the time, but you had a conniption fit for sitting in the airport gate for 5 minutes by yourself. You say he's never done it before and it was weird? Okay, maybe he did have a reason. I don't know. If he didn't before, he does now. Because you're making a little bit of a mountain out of a molehill. If he says that it was just he went and that there was no reason to it and he just went and didn't think anything of it, I believe that. You know why?
Men are idiots.
But really, sometimes guys just do things and they don't think about it and there's no reason, they just do it. If he says there is no reason, trust there is no reason. Don't give him a reason. I do think this is definitely a pick your battles thing that just seems like a very weird thing to get all bent out of shape about. If that's the only thing going wrong in your relationship right now, you know what? Take the win. There's so many other things that could go wrong than him getting on a plane 5 minutes before you. Yeah, you were the bad apple. That's a very petty thing to make an entire argument about. My goodness, 3 bad apples in a row. Are we gonna get a whole bad batch this episode? I don't know, we get one more. I'm telling you, there's no family drama like Thanksgiving drama. Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for threatening my husband if he helped his sister? I, 34 female, have been married to my husband, 33 male, for 6 years now. We have 2 kids, 4 male and 1.5 female. I come from money and also make about 10 times what my husband does. When we first got together, I noticed that his family really takes advantage of him financially. He's a very kind man and the perfect person to have as both a partner and a father. To get around the whole greedy family thing, I offered to pay everything when it comes to us. House, living expenses, medical expenses, vacations, clothing, all the things. Honestly, I wouldn't even mind if he wanted to be a stay-at-home dad, but he loves his job and I just want him to be happy. Early in our relationship, some of his family tried to get money from me too, but when I brought up a contract and a notary, they backed off. My husband's whole salary ends up going to his family, paying just about everything for his parents. Somehow one of his siblings is always in an emergency, or a cousin needs help with their business or something. It's always something. And just to be clear, they're all middle class with good paying jobs. Before anyone asks, when it's a true emergency, I always give money with no exception of it being paid back, but this isn't one of those cases. It's all the time. He's completely funding their lifestyles. Now back to the situation. We're visiting his family for Christmas and I thought it would be better to go a few days early. I rented us a cabin and paid for 5 first-class tickets, mine, his, the kids, and our nannies. We arrived at the airport and, surprise, surprise, his sister just so happens to be on the same flight. He obviously told her when we were going and she decided to get a ticket for the same flight. When we greet her, I knew what was coming, so I handed the kids to the nanny and sent her off to the lounge. My sister had the audacity to ask me right then and there to upgrade her to first class so she can travel with the family. Kudos to my husband. He shut her down before I could. But she continues and asks us to switch her ticket with our nannies. I told her point blank, we are not going to be doing that. That my nanny is needed to help with the kids. I'm useless on a plane because my nausea is so bad I have to take medication and I'm out for the count. My husband logistically can't take care of both kids on his own. We've got 2 rows of 2 seats with a wide gap between them. He can't do it by himself. Not with those 2 rugrats. My sister-in-law starts complaining and making a scene and I just turn around and start walking towards the lounge. My husband stays and talks to her and joins me 10 minutes later. Apparently, he tried to pay for her ticket upgrade, but the flight's full. So he tells me he's gonna be switching with her and she can have his first class ticket. No. Here's where I might be the bad apple. I told him he knows that I can't help the nanny during the flight. That if he's gonna leave that poor woman to her devices just because his sister can't live within her means, this will be the last time I ever pay for any of his travel tickets ever again. He did text his sister and tell her that he can't switch tickets with her and she's gonna have to sit in her regular seat. But he's so upset. Not necessarily with me, but just about the situation. He feels really bad he couldn't help his sister. And now I feel bad because he feels bad. Now I'm questioning, did I cross a line? Am I the bad apple? There we have it. Our one good apple for the episode. I can't tell if people are gonna jump down my throat over this or not, but I have a very strong opinion on this. I definitely think the wife is the good apple for a few different reasons. I think the wife's a good apple. I think the husband's a good apple. I think husband's family definitely takes advantage of him financially. Avery and I both really look out for each other because we both love to give, okay? When it comes to our people, we will literally give the shirts off of our backs. We love to include everyone, especially when it comes to friends who need us. Anything they need, we are the first ones to jump in. That being said, there are definitely times where I can see he's definitely being taken advantage of, and vice versa. He sometimes has to reel me in because he's like, they're not your friend. They like what you do for them, or they like what you give them. And it's not a fun situation. It's really hard because, again, our people mean the world to us, but we really have to reel each other in sometimes. And hey, okay, this is now getting to a point where I think they're taking advantage of you. I don't think they're treating you fairly, and it's never a fun situation, but sometimes you do have to put your foot down. When you see your loved ones being taken advantage of like that, sometimes you do have to be a little harsh and wake them up and let them see this really isn't okay. They are using you. People like Avery, like this husband, they love giving. I mean, that's a beautiful thing, and that is a beautiful trait and quality to have, but I do agree that gets taken advantage of by so many people. You know, this is why we can't have nice things. I do think it's important to protect people like that, and you know, again, Avery and I do that for each other, for sure, and it's unfortunate that it's as necessary as it is, but I do think that it's very necessary. So for that reason, I'm 100% am sticking by this wife as the good apple. I think she's trying very hard to protect her husband from being financially taken advantage of. I don't think there's anything wrong about her putting her foot down with that. And before anyone, the keyboard warrior is like, but it's his money. No, she paid for those tickets, remember? She paid for those tickets, okay? And she only threatened him with more of her money, okay? She just said, I'm not gonna spend any more of my money on you if when I spend my money on you, you give it to them. And I think that's very fair. I think that's a healthy boundary to set. Hold on. Hey, are you okay? Oh, okay. Can I call you in like 5 minutes? I'm just finishing that apple real quick. Okay, bye. Sorry, bye. Oh, that was my friend Laura, and I'm meeting her for dinner later. Just wanted to make sure she was okay. That was not planned, that just happened, okay? I don't know if there's anything anyone could say to change my opinion about that, just because, again, Avery and I have that experience of constantly having to look out for each other because we both just love to give things and time and energy and effort. We love our people with our whole hearts. I mean, we'd do anything for them, but we definitely are both mindful of looking out for each other, and I think that's what this wife is doing right now, and I support that. I love that she's trying to protect him from that, and I stand by that. 3 bad apples, 1 good apples. That's what we got today, or at least that's what I got today. I would love to know what you guys got. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, or what you guys thought, even about the theme. Do you like the themes? I don't know. But I think it is safe to say, one way or another, every single person here ruined someone's Thanksgiving. Whether they were in the right, whether they in the wrong, we definitely had some ruined Thanksgivings here for some people. The positive energy I'm sending you guys off with today is I hope your Thanksgiving are as, I don't want to say uneventful because I hope you have a positive eventful time, but I hope they are not problematic for you. I hope you have the best time with your family. I hope it goes well and it's fun and there's bonding and not arguing. And I would also love to hear in the comments what you guys do for your Thanksgiving. We always go to my friend Anna's house. I would love to know what you guys do for your Thanksgivings. What are your traditions? It's always fun to hear what everyone does. I hope to see you guys next week, and I'm so thankful that you guys spent today with me. Bye bye, lovelies. Mwah.